plenty has been written about what a wonderful experience tomorrow's meeting with Internazionale will be for Chris Wilder and his players. After all, as Sheffield United's manager admitted when the fixture was announced, it isn't every day of the week one of the biggest teams out there graces the turf at Bramall Lane. But given the city's significance, because it is the cradle of the game, the match promises to be a memorable occasion for Luciano Spalletti's squad too, as Andrea Ranocchia, the Nerazzurri's vice-captain, explained. Clearly, Sheffield has played an important role in the history of football, he told the Star. So, as a footballer myself, it is great to be visiting such a historic setting. United supporters might be surprised to discover that Inter, the three-time European champions and holders of 18 Serie titles, have been doing their research before travelling to South Yorkshire. But, as their name suggests, the visitors have always possessed a broad-reaching outlook. Indeed, they established over a century ago because, unlike arch-rivals AC Milan, the club's founder members wanted to accept foreign as well as Italian players. Ranocchia, capped 21 times by his country, boasts a particular fondness for English football, having completed a brief spell on loan with Hull City during the 2016-17 campaign. Aged 30, he has spent the past few days learning about United, their surroundings and also their stadium, which, Ranocchia was fascinated to learn, staged the world's first football tournament, its first floodlit contest and first meeting between England and Scotland outside of London or Glasgow. England is the home of football and it's great to go back after my spell at Hull City, Ranocchia continued. I have fond memories of football crowds in the north of England and I can't wait to play at Bramall Lane. The thing that struck me the most from my time in England was the fervent support of the crowd. Clearly, English football is very fast-paced and physical. It was a great challenge having been used to a more tactical style of play in Italy. Ranocchia had just turned professional with US Arezzo when, in 2007, Inter provided the opposition for Sheffield FC's 150th anniversary game. Despite fielding the youthful Primavera squad, Marco Materazzi and a teenage Mario Balotelli both featured as the visitors beat their non-league opponents 5-2 in front of a 19,000 crowd. Although Ranocchia has no knowledge of events that night, personally, I wasn't at the club. In fact, I don't think any of the current playing staff were involved, Roberto Gatta, an influential Italian journalist, does. Indeed, as former Sheffield FC manager Dave McCarthy revealed earlier this week, he was instrumental in helping arrange the game. Inter were very warm from the start to the idea of playing in Sheffield, and at that time Milan was really the epicenter of Italian football, Gatta said. Milan had just won the Champions League and Inter had won their 15th Scudetto. It was the year after the Calciopoli scandal, which had revealed a sorry state of corruption within Italian football. Inter had had a marginal involvement in the scandal, more or less. Most Serie directors had been wiretapped conversing with referees, with very different levels of involvement, and had kept their aura of a gentleman's club, in part because of their owner, Massimo Moratti, an oil man who had always come off as different from other owners, in that he truly loved his club and his players and would try to make them feel at ease in every circumstance. While it would not have been much different had AC Milan been Sheffield FC's opponent, it was fitting that it was Inter, who had always valued tradition and whose very full name Internazionale was meant to represent an international outlook. The squad that travelled to Sheffield included, famously, Marco Materazzi, who was recovering from a bad hamstring injury he'd suffered with Italy during the summer, and Mario Balotelli, Gatta continued. It was a Primavera squad, Primavera spring being the imaginative term used in Italy for the top tier of youth teams. Balotelli at the time had yet to make his Serie debut, which would come on December 16, little more than a month later, but was already talked about as a potential superstar. A member of Inter's staff, in fact, told me it's touch and go with him. In 5 years he might either be a world star or playing semi-pro football round the corner from his home. Inter were very proud of being part of the celebrations. Moratti and managing director Ernesto Paolillo arrived on the night of the match on a private flight, while Pietro Alzilio, who is now Inter's sporting director, was the highest-ranking director making the trip with the squad. Rajan Nangolan, Stefan de Vrij and Mauro Icardi, the joint winner of last season's Coppa Neer crown.